Here we go then, back on with the ambulance. So I've managed to get some more seats. There's a third lot of seats. These are KA seats. They seem to be a bit of a better fit than the Jag seats, and they're mechanical, so a lot simpler. So time to start cladding in the seat box. So this bit that I've scalloped out with my legs, doing out the steel. So cut it on the guillotine, and then cut it down with the hand guillotine, we'll call this. It's a heat tool, very useful. No abrasive dust or anything, very clean cut, and it'll do up to 2mm sheet. So yeah, cut it all out, get over to the folder, fold the angle in, and then tack it in place. So the idea here is I'm starting to clad the seat box, which is also the engine cover, but I'm trying to do it in a way in mind that I'll need to be able to access things in the future to change belts, hoses and whatnot. So you don't want to completely box it all in so you can't get in there, because the access to the engine is by the seat, top of the seat, you know, the seat's coming out the way and then accessing the top of the engine like it was in the Nissan. So a bit of consideration needs to be given to how you access things. So that's the panel folded up there and made, and drill some holes so I can plug weld it into position there. So all this is really blocking off is the power steering hydraulic pump. The belts can be changed by accessing the through the other holes. Then it was over to the old Nissan chassis to salvage the fuel tank brackets. The idea here was to use the original Nissan fuel tank and put it on the left hand side of the vehicle where there's currently a hatch. That used to be where you'd access the spare wheel. I thought maybe that would be a good place to put the Nissan fuel tank, which is here. This is where all the bits live. Until I've finished the project, I've decided all the bits live underneath the bench, and then I can't have thrown anything away that I then later decided I might need. And the thing with this sort of project is you don't really know what you need until you've done it, because as you go along, plans change. So yeah, the idea was to put the fuel tank in there, but the fuel tank is too big. So back to plan B, which is to use the original ambulance fuel tank, which is on the other side. That's okay, we'll just have to put an inline fuel pump on and not use the in-tank fuel pump. Don't know what's going on here, but I was asked to come and tow a truck out of the shed and to get in there, and we seem to be doing some kind of aerobatics on the old cherry picker. So more positioning of seats and starting to think about where to put the gear stick. Gear stick on this is cable connected, so there's quite a lot of flexibility about where I can put it. So I decided to make this panel here at the front, making a cardboard template there, so the gear stick will sit on that. So more cutting and folding. I'm actually using some alu panel for this panel, so it's sort of pre-painted. It's a skin of aluminium, plastic in the middle, and then another skin of aluminium. You can rivet it, fold it, bend it, pretty much do everything you can with steel, but it's very light and obviously it doesn't rust or anything, and it comes pre-finished, which is quite nice, and I just happen to have some. So that's that panel there. This one will be made to screw on, so it can be removed to give access, like I said before. So that's that. Then once I've made a panel to go on the floor, I realised that the clutch pedal was not hitting the floor, not having enough throw. So a few adjustments to be made here, which actually gives me slightly more foot room. And like I said before, you do things and sometimes you have to revisit them and tweak them a bit, because it's all a bit sort of, everything guides itself. Next job was to make some brackets, because I had to cut the original brackets off the KA seat, so make my own brackets to bolt them to the top of the engine box lid, or the seat base. It's sort of both. So that was really fiddly with all the plastic on there, but got that done. And they needed to be unboltable so that I can cover this lid in some sort of material to make it a little less utilitarian once the van's finished. So Nigel kindly helped me carry the assembled seat lid. As you can see there's some pins that locate it onto the bottom frame, and I'll put a seal in there, so I'll make it gas tight and weather tight in theory. So that's those done. That's another job ticked off. It's all about ticking off those little jobs, and we'll get there in the end. As you can see, with the seat lid removed. That's the access to the engine. That bar across the middle will probably get removed. So it's a little bit cramped, but there is access to get in there should you need to. And there it is with the seats on top. So I think these seats work a lot better than the Jag seats, and I put them together like that so that you can tip that seat forward and get access into the back of the van from the passenger door. So that should be better. So here's the original wiper motor. It's not working at the moment, so decided in a moment of not being quite sure what to do next, I thought I'll start pondering that. So put some power to it, no joy, all a bit seized. It would then start to do sort of half a revolution but then stop. So I took the motor apart, checked the brushes, they all looked to be okay. Took the main spindle out, check everything. I think it just needed freeing off, to be fair, and once I'd done that and given it a bit of a clean, we were back in business. Now it is my intention to put the Nissan wiper motor in here, just because it will talk to the rest of the controls that we're using on the Nissan, and it will give me the intermittent wipers and the multiple speeds, which will be very useful. So decided to check the condition of the original fuel tank, because this wasn't hooked up when I got it, and it all looked to be pretty good. Nice clean diesel coming out, although someone had been running it on cherry by the looks of it. And then Adam and Ben came to sort of try out my interior.
Slide the seat.
So if this isn't not a destructive test, I don't know what is. You leave them in there for a while and well, yeah, everything gets given a good run through. So they seem to think it was not too bad. So with that done, time to push the ambulance out and turn it round so I could do a bit of work in the back. So it rolled amazingly freely, I thought, which I'm hoping is a good sign. And it's nice to see it outside in the light for a change, instead of inside the workshop. It changes your perspective, although the feet underneath obviously a reminder that I have yet to do the floor. And as per usual, the moment you take something outside, it decides to throw it down the rain. So this was the start of a few drops.
5 minutes we take it outside,
a bit of a
absolutely
deluge.
hoots it down rain.
So back in the workshop now, I've swept all the rust off the floor, put it in the other way around, nose in first. That way it gives me good access in the back for doing my repairs to the chassis, because it's in a pretty poor state of repairs at the moment.